Hello everyone, this is Ku and welcome to my channel. Today we will take a closer look at the rare hero Bingusateh and examine how he manages to challenge one of the hardest decks at Dragon Draft, Champions. Let's go. Basically, I'm forced to pick powerful fists here since I have no intention of playing Goblin and Goblin Alliance is mostly useless without the Union. The game here forces me to choose Elven Alliance by presenting me the two options I didn't select in the previous round. I'm also choosing the third trophy as Power Seal because it's my only option without making a choice. And as I said earlier in the previous round, I have no intention of playing Goblins. I can't get any unions here, but believe me, I'm not all upset because shackles are a perfect choice. As we discussed in previous videos and streams, early shackles allow you 5 to 10 turns to shape your deck as you wish and prepare yourself for mid and late game. I'm lucky to have two Bingusatehs at the start of this game and I want to explain why I'm keeping them in my deck. This part is seriously important, so let me talk about Bingusateh first. Bingusateh is a rogue and he removes all buffs and debuffs from 4 random enemies at the beginning of the round with 100% chance and cannot be interrupted because he is immune against debuffs. Now, why should I keep Bingusateh in my deck? First of all, since I got the Power Seal from turn 3 and my heroes can buff themselves by 20% unless they are silenced, I don't need bards. Secondly, as you see here on the screen, as the winning player of the game, Lucky 3 has the hero Tatoosh, which transforms enemy hero to a flower with 65% chance. You might ask, so what? But I will explain you much more detail later in this video. Now let's get to mid game slowly. Even though I don't want to play goblins, the game is forcing me to, but I'm still choosing to get the Tavern update because I have to confess, ever since I saw Tatoosh, my main goal is to find him and switch to champions as soon as possible in this game. Here, fueled by the Tavern update, I'm trying to find Tatoosh, but I've only found Horg. At least I'm continuing the game with a control hero and a very small amount of gold. And seeing Tavardil here makes me feel like I'm being doused with boiling water because I'm 100% sure there are champions in this game now. And most of my opponents have already found heroes to switch to them. I'm choosing Digger for Knowledge here because my goal is to start buffing my elves before my opponents switch to champions and eliminate them before they get strong enough and secure at least 4th spot. As soon as I make Hork Legendary, I'm jumping to level 11 and adding Isle Red to buff my Greencraft fighters, Arbiter of Water to silence my opponents, and most importantly 2 Algnets to my deck. And when I check my opponents, I see one of my 7 opponents is playing dwarves with dwarf armor, while the remaining 6 were either switching to champions or trying to switch. Here I choose plus 15 HP since my only aim is to stay in the game as long as possible. I think we need to pause here and assess what's happening so we don't get confused later in the end game. First, for those who don't know or want to refresh their memory, let's recall how champions work. There are 4 champions in this game. Regardless of their names and races, they all share a common, extremely powerful ability when it comes to Dragon Draft. Each of them raises all stats of all champions by 150%. But as you can read at the description, it requires 2 conditions. First of all, you need 4 champions on your team and 1 vegetable on the enemy team. And as you remember, Bingusateh removes all buffs and debuffs from 4 random enemies. So let's see how that will work in the real action. So my Hork stuns one of his champions and 1 non-upgraded Tatoosh, and his upgraded Tatoosh morphs my upgraded Gunkar fighter into a flower. Then my Arbiter of Water silenced one of his champions, and the remaining non-controlled 3 champions buff each other champion by 150%. Now the crucial part, my first Bingusateh removed buffs from 2 champions, and the second one unluckily couldn't remove from the other 3 since the skill is applied to 4 random enemies only. And after the fight begins, my front row is destroyed immediately by buffed and non-controlled champions, and very unluckily one of my Elgnet died, but the next Elgnet decided to make his job perfectly. He removed the buffs from the other champions, so I won the round. To avoid getting swept in the first round and to be able to revive Bingusateh and clear the buffs from champions, I'm getting Dust in Your Eyes, which might prolong the fight a little bit more for me. Bingusateh is starting to lose its power because the number of heroes on the board are extending and my durability is not high enough to hold against buff champions, so I start to think about new solutions here, which luckily I find pretty fast by finding both Maras and Earth Elemental and adapting them to my deck, and let me explain you how. Maras adds class to all allies, assassins, which is pretty useful against champions because assassins receive 50% pure damage, and pure damage ignores defense. On the other hand, Earth Elemental is a very strong hero with both attack and wisdom based active skills, and most importantly immune against debuffs. So with both Maras and Earth Elemental, I'm aiming to go a little further in the game to make the final blow. I'm getting 25 HP to stay in the game a little bit longer. Here I find my final blow, Tagem, hoping to help me to silence the board completely and Earth Elemental can swipe the enemy. Now let's watch the next fight with Tagem. As the fight starts, the enemy Tatoosh transforms my Isle to a flower, but before any champions can buff each other, Tagem procs and silences everyone, so I can beat the enemy easily with Earth Elemental. And get bag of gold because the 2 other options are useless against my remaining opponents, but at least I find my final blow, Tagem. So against my first opponent, who is leading the game, I had no chance because she made the transaction to Earth Elemental and Tagem combo earlier than me, but at least I was able to make it before my other opponent from playing champions. In this round, where the winner takes the second place, as you will watch, my Tagam skill, which has an 80% chance of success, is not working, and I can silence my opponent. My opponent's Tower Deal, on the other hand, is working, allowing him to buff his champions, so I lose the round. But at least Tony beats Sapatia, so I take the second place. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next video.